Welcome to the Dx Carroll Show, from all around the world and all walks of life. Tell me about your experience being featured in a fitness magazine.
It was actually surprisingly, I got the call that day we were having Hurricane Ike. I was actually doing the interview when they had Hurricane Ike, and just somebody had passed my name along to them. So it was very exciting to hear them want to do an interview on me and give me that recognition for my accomplishments and stuff that I've done around the world with people. One of the top men's fitness magazines that are on the newsstands.
You were recently taped for a documentary, Soul of a Warrior. What was it like seeing and hearing yourself tell your story?
Doing the documentary was very overwhelming and plus a healing process for me, because I went back through my childhood and talked about things that had happened to me, things I didn't think I had healed over. I actually realized I hadn't, and then just hoping that with the things that I went through would help other people, not for people to have empathy or pity me, because, you know, I didn't feel that way growing up. I just felt like, I just prayed to God that I would survive that and get older, and then I could have a better life.
So tell us, how did you get into mixed martial arts?
Wow. I think I got into mixed martial arts because growing up I was wrestling and doing karate and boxing, just stuff to keep healthy when I was younger. And I guess when mixed martial arts came along, it was just a way for me to develop myself. And then people started coming training with me where I lived in an apartment complex. They come train with me, and I realized that I had a knack to teach. So I decided that I would, try to give this a shot. And, this is a able-bodied sport. I mean, most of the people are walkers, so I thought it'd be interesting to try to teach and see if I could make a name for myself, in the game. I started back in '96. When I started learning. So come a long ways since then.
So they tell me that you've trained some of Houston law enforcement. How did you get into that? Is that your way of participating in the fight against crime?
Yes, it's very funny. I had a police officer search me out for training. He had tried other gyms and they weren't working for him. So he basically said, show me what you got and I'll train with you. So I put him through a series of workouts and trained him and taught him technique. And he trained with me for like 4 years before he moved on to doing the FBI work and stuff like that. So I think he liked it because the training was tough and I pushed him hard. And I think that's what law enforcement need, because one of the number one things that happen to law enforcement is ambush. People catch you off guard and your reactions have to be just that quick. So, I try to help the reactions be good. And to do that, you have to be physically fit and you have to have your mind together, and you got to be able to pay attention. And then when that act happens, you have to be able to react then, not once they choke you, but before they do whatever they're going to do, you have to react then. So yes, I want to help protect the people that watch over us in the city and around the world. We need to, regardless of the situation, they need to know how to protect themselves, because they have families that they have to go home to at the end of the day.
What do you believe people get out of working out, training with you? For instance, the woman you teach self-defense.
I think they get the empowerment over it is that they don't just, just because they're women, they can't protect themselves. And I think by them seeing me and with my physical limitations and things that I do, I think I empower them to see that you don't have to be strong. You just have to have a strong mental concept and believe in yourself and realize that when something happens, you do have a way out. You must believe that you have a way out, or you won't find your way out of that situation if you don't believe.
What is a typical day for the Monster Warrior?
Well, getting my day started is just waking up. You know, I'm older, so it takes a little while, my body, my equilibrium and stuff, to get myself together. I just kind of have to warm up, stretch. One of the most important things I do before I start every day off is read my Bible every morning before I do anything. And that kind of inspires me and gets me motivated to get back up and do what I do. And then just basically put in a 12 or 13-hour day, and then, taking a shower, fixing my lunch, making sure my dishes and stuff are cleaned up, and just basically doing the same thing that anybody else does. It may be difficult because I got to be careful because I have crutches. I got to be careful when I get in the tub so I don't slip. So just things I have to be aware of when I'm getting ready for work. And just constantly, I find the thing most tiring is just my body, my mind. Basically, it's not my body, it's my mind, because that's the strongest thing on me. So that does all the thinking. So it can be pretty exhausting when you have 4 or 5 clients back to back, and then you don't have a break, and then I have a class, and then the only time I probably will see a break is after I'm done teaching my fighters, and then that's at 10. So then at 10 o'clock, I'm winding down, shutting the gym down, getting everybody else. I get home and try to, eat my dinner, spend a little time with my daughter. She's up, and then, to bed, and, up 6 hours later, doing the same thing again.
Let's talk about a time when you were faced with obstacles in your life. You have had a crippling challenge since you were a young child. Tell us about how having tumors on your spine affected you as a young child.
Well, I pretty much knew at a young age that I was not going to be, because at that point I wasn't even able to walk for a couple years. As from 3 to 5, I was in and out of hospitals. I basically was in full body cast. If people can realize, a full body cast basically means my whole body is in a body cast except for the only thing sticking out are my legs and my arms. So basically, my mother had to care for me, bathe me, use the restroom. So it was very awkward as a young age, not being able to move around or, listen outside, hearing the kids play, and, I'm in the house, I'm TV, but I really couldn't do anything. And I realized then that I wasn't a normal kid, because I wasn't able at that time to be able to go outside, and I hear kids playing. Sometimes kids came in, but it's pretty much just me, in the house watching TV, and I'm pretty much not able to do anything.
As a child, how did you handle being disabled?
Well, once, I would get out of the body cast, I could walk somewhat. I wore braces, so I was actually able to get out, and I wasn't able to go to school all the time, but I was able to get out, go to school, go outside and just go places in a wheelchair. And, it was just different because I just couldn't do a lot of the things the kids did in the neighborhood. I just, for a short amount of time, all I could do is sit, watch them play. And I guess I just had a strong mind and strong courage. It didn't get to me. I just figured if one day, if it was meant to be, that, I would be able to be out there myself at some point trying to play and climb the trees.
Were you excluded from games and other things that kids do? How did it make you feel?
It's funny you say that, because there's times when I was picked on and thought different of, and I think that was the greatest thing of, having a big brother, the point of not letting kids, pick on. It was just not picking on me, like pushing me out of my wheelchair, things that, they didn't realize because of my spine, you really could hurt me. You're trying to be fun, but really you're being malicious, and you're not realizing at that age, either am I, that, you push me out of the wheelchair or do something to me that, you know, could put me back in the hospital and be paralyzed. So it was fun that most of the time my brother was with me, or my mom would let me be on the porch, but I never really was outside too much. Even in school, you know, kids, and I'd have to fight back the best I could because I just couldn't sit there and let somebody hit on me and punch on me because I was different, which is what I see kids going through today, getting bullied because you're different. People want to bully you, but they don't know that they're blessed, and the same thing that I'm in right now in a wheelchair, they could be in that same spot and not realize it.
Your parents. Let's talk about them and what it was like growing up as part of a blended family. Did your stepfather treat you any different because of your challenges?
My stepfather was really a different breed of a man. I don't think if any more of him exists, God help the world. He did everything to tear me down, not build me up, not try to help me to be a better person, just telling me, you know, women aren't going to want to be with you because you're disabled, you're crippled, and they want somebody that can work. And I'm thinking, how do you know I'm not going to do that? I feel like your father's supposed to, stepfather. I think anybody that steps in your path or in your life as a male role model should be trying to uplift you and help you be a better person. He started doing that to me at the age of 6 when my mom married. He spent from the age of 6 till I moved out of the house, just everything was negative. Everything was negative. So I guess outside of all, I just had to put my faith in God. And I had great teachers, and I just had to believe that I'm not going to be like that, and that was something that was wrong with him. But I believe when you're in somebody's life, if you can't do anything meaningful to help them, I think you just keep your mouth shut, because that's why we have problems in the world today with people doing the things they do because people tell them they can't do something, and they finally believe they can't do it, and then they don't do it. So I think that's where my mental strength comes from. That's pretty hard from the age of 6 to 17 years old, have a man tell you every day of your life just about what you're not going to do, and then you turn around and you do better.
Was he physically or sexually abusive towards you?
When I was younger, I guess because I don't think I was a kid anymore. I think I was a child in survival mode. So I almost felt like I had adult feelings, like I was not able to be a kid. You know, I feel like growing up with that, it didn't affect me when I was young, but when I, like I say, when I got older, it was like I'm realizing all these things had happened to me. It made me very bitter. I mean, when you stand in a living room and a man puts a shotgun to your head and tell you what you're gonna do, and this is just, I can tell so many horror stories, and you know, all you can tell a guy is, I'm gonna die. And like I'm 12 years old. How am I gonna I'm not going to try to move a shotgun from my head. I'm basically trying to figure out, like, are you playing? Are you really going to shoot me? Or, you know, what is the whole emphasis? I think he played a lot of mental mind games with me, even at night. Or, you know, one time he took a big lighter, burnt all my fingers until, you know, they were swell up. It just, you know, it's almost like being in Vietnam in a concentration camp. It's what it was like to live in my home. You know, we lived in a $100,000 home, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like we're in prison and, you know, not being able to eat and him just, you know, the sexual stuff, I guess, it just made me realize that when I got older, I would never allow a man to touch me, and if he did, he would pay for it. And I just feel like, I guess that's why I stay so much to myself, because of the fact that, you know, I don't trust a lot of people. I have very few friends, and I feel like, you know, it's just better to stay to myself. And I feel like I thank God that I didn't grow up to, you know, be a child molester and stuff like that. I mean, I believe you can prevent that, because I know I did. I just said when I got out of the house, I was not going to be the same man that was in my house that treated me the way he did. I just vowed and prayed that I was going to try to do better and try to use my abuse and stuff like that to help people instead of use it as an excuse to take it out on people.
Do you believe you were abused because of your disability?
I believe, like the law of the jungle, if you're weak, you're going to get it the worst. But because I was weak, I was way more stronger than he gave me credit for mentally. You know, mentally, he didn't break me. Even at the time when I left home, he realized, he tried to break me and realized that he didn't break me. And, you know, realizing that everything that's weak is not weak. And I think when you're different or you have a weakness, people will take advantage of that and try to hurt you. With me, this disability is more of a strength than people realize, because the thing of it is when you can get to the mind, it's not the body that functions alone, it's the mind that tells your right hand what it's gonna do and your left hand or whatever else you're gonna do during the day. So I feel like once people see that my mind is strong, and I think you need a mental game for anything, because it doesn't matter how strong, how hard you can hit, it matters when you get hit, are you mentally able to deal with it? So yes, I think a lot of people, even growing up doing karate and wrestling, they pushed me hard, and when they realized that my mentalness was strong, people took me in and realized, like, you know, they forgot my disability because they see in actuality I wasn't trying to use it. If I couldn't do something, I found something else to do, but I just never stopped pushing. And I guess that's why a lot of people, you know, respect me and believe in me, because I use my weakness as a strength.
How did your mother react to the abusiveness? And did she try and protect you?
Well, I think, truthfully, my mom didn't think anything was really going on bad. But, you know, if you have a guy that's beating you, there's a difference of disciplining and beating and demoralizing your child. And when you're sitting there, because there's times she sat there, when you're sitting there and you're watching a man take a leather strap and wrap it around his hand, and he's beating me across my mouth till my mouth starts bleeding. And the only way that she stops is because there's a white rug on the floor. Even then, I used to question if my mom even loved me, because to watch that kind of brutality just not happen to me, it happened to my brother, but I always got the brunt end of it. And her answer to me was that she was abused and things happened to her when she was a child. So once she made that statement to me, I didn't have anything else really to say to her, because I feel like if you've been abused and those things have happened to you, you would not allow that to happen to your child. And I ended up making up with my mother, because like they say, you have to forgive or forget, or just not deal with them. And that's the only mother that I had. I don't have any other mother, so I had to forgive, but it was harder for her because she was angry because she couldn't help it. But I said, I've forgiven you. Now you have to forgive yourself. So yes, it's just, you wonder you wonder if your parents really love you, and you don't know, but when they see things happen, yes, it does question if they do, or And it's a sad feeling when you feel that way, when you don't really know if your parents love you because they see certain things happen to you and they don't prevent it, and you want to know why. But then when they tell you it happened to them, it's almost like saying, well, okay, it happened to me, what you want me to do? And that was probably the most hurt feeling I had, where I just realized I'm not gonna ask her anymore. That's just unacceptable to me too, because it happened to you. I think we should protect our children, be willing to die for them if necessary, and I didn't get that.
Did you witness your mother or siblings being abused also?
I mean, I seen my brother, you know, because we used to get it together. I seen one time my stepfather hit my mom with a pistol, and it was frightening thing for me to see. And I think I was about 9 years old, and her head split open. So, you know, I've seen violence. I've seen more violence than I want to. And most people you hear talking about are proud of, even you hear people on the street, I've seen this, I've seen that, but for me to see that amount of violence and that amount of things in my life, I've seen probably more things in my life before I was 10 years old than I've seen as a grown man. And it's crazy to grow up and not be watching cartoons and living a kid's life when there's just violence and drugs and everything going around you. And I thank God that none of that stuff affected me not to be who I am today.
Who do you blame for the things that happened to you?
I think in actuality, I just wish my mother, regardless of her circumstances, could have just, you know, just been a better mother and just seen the things that were going on. And regardless if you love that man or not, you can't love a man more than you love your kids to let another man beat on your kids, or likewise a woman doing your kids like that. That's the thing that upset me the most, that she allowed these things to happen and she didn't do anything about it. But at the end of the day, like I said, she was my only mom. So as I got older, I had to realize that I had to forgive her. And the only way to heal was even having to forgive my stepfather. I had to forgive in order to go on, or I would have been bitter. And I didn't want to be bitter because, you know, almost 12, 13 years of my life was succumbed by violence and things that just went on in my life. And I just figured that I wanted to grow up and live a better life, and we can't always go back. I'll never have a childhood. I'll never be a child again. So I just had to realize, but I can be an adult and I can grow up and do something with my life.
How did you comprehend all of this as a child? Did you ever think of suicide or killing him for the things he did to you?
Be truthful, I did try to kill my stepfather. My brother was there. It was funny because I'll tell you a short story. He signed me up to learn how to shoot guns. He paid for my training. He just did not realize, he thought I was weak. Once I started learning how to shoot a gun loaded, I was in the room with my grandmother one day, and I said, I know where he keeps his gun. So it's not funny, but it was frightening because I went in the room and I got his gun and I started loading it, and I put it under my grandmother's blanket, which I can only imagine how she felt having a gun under her blanket knowing her grandson. So when I left out of the room, she told my brother. So, you know, my brother knew I had the gun. So my brother was smart, and he just asked me to come out of the room, and then, you know, he threw me down. He had a friend there, and he went and got the gun. He says, you know, if you would have killed him. At the time, my brother was worked at the prison, so he inmates. So he told me that would have been premeditated, and they would have put you away for a long time, regardless of what he has done to you. It's proven that. So once he did that, I realized, and then it was wrong, and then I realized my grandmother told my mom, and once again, She didn't have to. My mom told my stepfather, and my stepfather took me downstairs and asked me, would you have killed me if you had the gun? And I said, yes, I would have. And I should have said different, but I wasn't scared of him. So that made my life a little harder. One day he caught me upstairs, and if anybody ever saw the first Halloween where Michael Myers picked a guy up by his throat and held him up off the ground with his feet, my stepfather did that to me, choking me. And my grandmother got her stick and was coming, made him put me down. So he realized now that I wasn't scared of him, now I realized he was scared of me, to know that I could go in his room and load a gun and wait on him. So, you know, it just made my life a lot tougher. Not saying it was right what I did, but just nobody was doing anything for me, and I was just, my mind was just at an end. And then I think when I was about 27, I did one time, and it changed my life. I did try to commit suicide, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, and I actually tried to do it, and when I pulled the trigger, it just happened to be that my friend from behind me had stuck his finger in the hammer. Like, had stuck his finger in the hammer when I pulled the trigger. And it's just like, we were real close, and he just knew something was wrong as I disappeared out of the living room. So I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm just saying, like, I had a lot of things that I had been through, and then that day, God let me know that I had a purpose, and then, because he let me live, because he did let me live that day, because I did pull the trigger, and the hammer hit his finger, and it didn't go off, and then when I didn't hear it go off, I was like, you know, wow, like, I have a purpose. And, you know, hopefully by saying this, that people out there that are thinking about it, when you get like that, reach out to somebody. But no shame in reaching out to somebody. I just didn't do it, but like I said, God had a purpose for me, because where people say they try to do it, I actually did it. I just put his finger where the hammer is supposed to hit it, and boom. So I've been through some things, and I thank God that I've learned a lesson, and I'm still learning lessons.
At what point did you say, enough is enough?
I think the day that I really tried to commit suicide, I sat down in my room, in my apartment, and said, I got to start changing. I have to. So I just started sitting down and realized I need to do this. I need to stop letting people affect me. I need to let go of things. And I just woke up and realized, you know, this is what I need to do. And then I guess not too longer after that, I started dating this girl, and then my daughter. So then I think when I knew my daughter was born, was created, it just really made me start realizing that I have another life that I'm bringing into life and into this world, and I have to really make some changes, because I said I don't want to be the kind of father that I had, you know, father and, you know, biological. I didn't say my biological father left when I was in the hospital when they think I was gonna die, and just sent my mom a letter and said that, you know, he had a new family, and not to bother him no more about me. So it's just like, you know, that's just horrible stuff to hear when you grow up as a child. When you get older, to realize that people that are supposed to love you just don't want you in their life anymore, regardless if it was something between him and my mom. Just, I'm a baby, and my dad, biological dad, just decided to step back and decide he didn't want to be my father anymore. So it's trying, but you have to go on. There's nothing that I can do about that. So you have to just let it be.
What did it take to forgive your mother and father?
I just basically, after that situation, said, you know what, I just told my mom, you know, I love you, I have to forgive you. And my stepfather, I never really got to say anything to her, but I told her to give him the message because, you know, she still talked to him. I just told my stepfather I forgave him for everything that he's done to me, and I'm moving on with my life. And once I really gave into the true heart of forgiving, then I seen where my life started getting so much better, and I seen a lot of things just, you know, coming off my shoulders. Not that my whole adulthood was bad, but, you know, I had things that I just hadn't dealt with. It's kind of like they're there, and I just kind of put them in the back in the closet, and then just, I should have addressed them, but blessing that day, I just addressed them. I just told my mom, I love you, the only mom I have, and we have to try to get past this and build a relationship.
I understand that you had to step up and take care of your mother. What was that experience like, and did you ever feel as though it was a burden?
When I came here, my mom wasn't well, so I ended up taking care of her, which actually put a lot of my careers and hopes on hold because I was, you know, taking care of my mother. And my mother wasn't happy with the whole me doing karate and training and stuff like that. So, and then, you know, I'm being honest, I had another brother and sister, and I'm going to tell everybody this, regardless of what goes on with your family, that was their mother too. And nobody really stepped up to do anything, and I did. And regardless of what happened, you know, all of my siblings and me were abused and sexually, things that happened to us. And we all, as brothers and sisters, we all dealt with it different. But, you know, at the end of the day, to me, she was still our mom. Regardless of the bad, she took care of us. She kept roof on our head, and I understand we're mad, but in a time of not being well, you know, I didn't have to do it. I did it because of me taking care of my mother, I got blessings for me dealing with my mother, because there's times when, you know, when I took care of my mother, my mom even looked at me and asked me sometimes why I didn't do things. This time I had to go dump my mom's bedpan. You know, now she's looking at me as, why is he taking care of me? You know, I know in her mind, and I say, you're my mother. And when I was sick, you know, people don't realize my mom could have, the people in the hospital came to give her a piece of paper where they could have signed me over to the state, and basically meant that it wouldn't be her responsibility anymore. And she didn't. So, you know, as a son, you figure like, okay, you let this person do stuff to me, but then you didn't sign the paper. So I guess when I was taking care of my mother, it was about, I think it was a humbling experience for her as me, because I was having to help her do stuff. I was frustrated about things. It's just being there, but at the end, helping my mother made us closer. And, you know, basically all I'm saying is, if you're brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter what goes on, that you all should work together to help take care of your parent, because regardless, they were there, and, you know, God's gonna look down on that if you don't look after your parent. And I didn't do it for that. I did it for my mom because I loved her, because no matter what we went through, when I was disabled at a young age, going through hospital, she was in the hospitals with me. She the one that dumped my bedpan. She was the one that took care of me. So I was glad to be able to take care of her, but it was a hard burden, because it's just not there, going grocery shopping. And everything pretty much fell on me, where I even got out of shape. I gained like 60 pounds. I was tired, and I wasn't able to do things that I wanted to do with my life. But in the end, now I see where God has blessed me for all the things that I have done. And I did it not looking to be blessed. I did it because she was my mother and I was her son, and I'm supposed to try to take care of her.
You have a brother and a sister. Tell me what your relationship is like with them.
You know, it's funny, because most brothers and sisters, they're either close or they're not close because they're fighting. we're just not close because of our situations, and you know, my mother has a lot to do with us not being close, but we're not enemies. We talk from time to time. My sister, I just think between us as a family that we need to get together and, you know, and be a brothers and sisters. I'll be honest, and I'll say this. I think a lot of my problems is I'm not my brother's very, you know, financially well off. My sister, that she has money, but I'm the only one in the family that I'm not really at social status. And that's why I work every day, because I feel like everybody keeps telling me grow up and be a man and be successful, and I work hard every day, but it's not a crime to help your brother or your sister if you see them doing something with their life that's constructive. And I just feel like they love me, but I just feel like there's some things as brothers and sisters that we need to sit down and you know, sometimes that stuff happens and sometimes it doesn't. I love my sister dearly. I just feel like I've been there for certain people in my life and they haven't been there for me. But as they say, I'm not mad about it. I've gotten a long ways, and people who don't think I haven't really done anything with my life or don't have confidence in me, I've done more in my life than probably people who have college degrees or have good legs and good arms. I've been places I didn't want to be. So, you know, I figure I bring a lot of life lessons and things to light that where I would hope one day that me and my brother and my sister or one of us will just sit down and, you know, it takes two to fix a problem. It's so easy for one person to point a finger and tell them this is what you do, but it takes two to just sit down and you know, and fix the problem. And I have a daughter, and I'd like my daughter to be close with her uncle and her auntie.
Are you close with any other family member?
I'm pretty close. Well, I don't want to say a family member, but when I was young, there was this white family that actually took care of me. And I'm really close to her, and I talk to her because I think she truly, you know, understands and listens to me, because I don't make excuses in my life for things that have happened. I've just had things, I've been derailed at certain points and I haven't been able to, but, you know, all I'm asking for is just, you know, that chance to do the things that I love and people. And then, you know, I can't consider, you know, if you want to say I'm close with people that, you know, I can consider family, you know, just basically, you know, other people. You know, sometimes they say sometimes there's a good person that could be more closer to you than your family member, you know, that can talk to you. So I don't really have very many other relatives that I talk to. Most of all my aunties, plus my mom, they passed away. So it's pretty much, you know, I've been blessed to just have, God just blessed me to have people, you know, in my life, you know, for instance, like you, people just to talk to me, to tell me, you know, this is what it is and this is what I have to do to make it better. And I guess that's all I really need to hear, is just what I need to do to make it better, not rub my head and tell me it's going to be okay, to say, you know what, keep going down that road you're going down. So I have supportive people, I would say, out, you know, side of my family, but it's all a blessing, even though.
Do you have any fears?
You know, I think my fear, one of my biggest fears was probably never getting a chance to see my daughter. A fear of never being successful or just the fear of, people not believing in me. Would I let that affect me in my everyday life or what I want to do? So, I'm not afraid of dying because I know that's evident, and I know as I was young, but I know I want to, keep growing as a man and do the things that I love to do. And if, I have fears, just pray on them. But, everybody has fears, but it's if you give in to your fears, and I choose not to give in to them, but they're there.
Tell me about your innermost feelings. Who is Dwayne?
I'm a very simple person. I don't want anything in life. I have a goal that I want to open me a gym one day. I want to give back to the world. I want people to have confidence in me and stop looking at my crutches and look at me as a man, as you're a man, or you're a woman, and just that I look different, but I still have the same goals, and I want to do the same things that everybody want to do. And I'm very humble, and I guess because I see other people that are a little more outspoken, but I'm learning how to realize there's a difference in confidence and being cocky. So I just realized that I'm learning more to express myself as a person, and I can really thank, I want to thank, Chico the Machine Gun, because we spent time together, and he always told me, Coach, the day you start speaking up, the day people start noticing, it's kind of like I've done so much in the sport, but I haven't spoke up for myself. So now I'm learning how to tell people I'm a good trainer, and I believe I'm a good trainer, and it shows. And so in order for people to believe that, I need to show that, and I'm starting to show that now, and I'm starting to speak up for myself and let people know that I know what I'm talking about. And, if I don't agree with what you say about me, then I will let you know that I don't agree. So that's just me in a nutshell.
You were recently reunited with your daughter after 16 years. What was that like?
Man, that was probably more overpowering than anything in my life because, like I said, my daughter was born, and the lady I was in a relationship with, we just couldn't get along. And I seen where there was some problems. I found out later from my daughter that she was using drugs. So I guess to find out that she was probably using them when she was with me, but thank God when she had my daughter, she wasn't using, drugs. And she kept my daughter away from me for a long time. I tried to find her, but as I tell people, she was staying in shelters and she was changing her phone. And so seeing my daughter was overwhelming, because she looks like me, and I wasn't able to be a father to her, which really hurts me now because I wasn't able to be a father to her. And last time I saw her was when she was like 2 or 3. So to have her now, I love her, and having her now makes me want to work even harder than I work hard, but even harder, so I can try to give her the things that I wasn't able to give her, and be a father to her. And it's different because we're just learning each other, but I love her and I will protect her. And I told her when she came, I would never let anybody again in life hurt her. They'd have to hurt me now, because now I'm her father, and now she has a male in her life that loves her, and it's rewarding to have her around me, because it makes me even know why I've been doing what I've been doing my whole life, is working hard, striving to be able to one day put her in college, one day buy her the car like every father and mother does for their kids. So it's a blessing to have her, and I'm gonna just try every day to just be a father to her, and just let the relationship grow. But it's a blessing to have her here. Now that every day I wake up, it actually makes every day waking up a whole lot easier, knowing I have her around me, and she's truly my because she's been through so much. She's truly my inspiration. So now it makes it easier getting up more, because now when I get up and see her, I know why now I've truly been doing what I've been doing, is to one day give her a better life.
Now that your daughter's back, you have a special woman in your life. What are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future is just to keep working harder, you know, build a life I'm happy, do for my daughter, and like I said, one day have a gym, just try to make life much better than what it is now. And just keep being blessed and keep doing the things that I'm doing, you know, to get better.
Your work ethics, in addition to being featured in a men's magazine, has helped your career pick up. So if people want to contact you, how can they find you for a workout session or training?
Well, I do have monsterwarrior.tv, or then call email me. It's on my website, and my phone number is on my website, and I do teach and train out of Hoger MMA, so it's very easy to find me if you want to just call, get in shape.
Do you have a Facebook page also?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page. On Facebook, it's either Dwayne Stevenson or Monster Warrior Cross Training.
You are an inspiration to all. If there is one message that you would like to pass on to others, what would it be?
The best thing is, don't judge a book by its cover. Never think that you're better than anyone. Just know you may know some things that the other person doesn't, and just look at everybody in the same way you look at yourself, is that you want to be somewhere and they want to be somewhere too. So sometimes you both can have the same goal, and just work together, and just know no matter our differences or what we look like, we're still human beings and we're still trying to get to the same place. So, you know, I guess in essence, let's just be a little more kinder to each other and help each other, because at the same day, when it all comes out, we all can sit at the same table and eat together. The whole thing is we all can sit at the table and eat together. Just have to work together, and hopefully my disability, which I don't see it, will just show people they have something that they want to do in life. Just go do it and forget what everybody else says, because those are the people that have problems inside of themselves and they don't want to deal with them. So never let nobody bring you down, because when you let somebody bring you down, it's not their fault, it's your fault.
I hope the show provides answers for your burning questions and become a very exciting learning experience for you also.